You hatch from a cell somewhere in South America, pulling yourself out of the wax with your legs and standing on the comb for the first time. Around you, hundreds of other bees move across the surface in every direction, pressing past each other and following paths you don't understand yet. A worker moves toward you and runs her legs across your body, checking every part of you before moving on. You pass, but the bee that hatches from the cell beside you doesn't. Two workers grab it and drag it toward the edge of the comb, then drop it. You watch it fall and then look away because there's nothing else to do. For the first few days, you stay near the center of the comb, taking food from workers who press it toward your mouth and moving out of the way when larger bees push through. Then a scout lands at the entrance and starts moving in a tight, repeated pattern on the surface of the comb, turning and circling and turning again. The bees around her start moving toward the entrance, and you move with them because the pull of the signal is too strong to ignore. You reach the entrance and stop with the light hitting you for the first time. Below the hive, the ground is far down. In front of you, the air is open and full of bees coming and going in straight, fast lines. Then a large beetle lands on the outside of the hive wall, trying to climb toward the entrance, and three guards hit it at once, stinging it repeatedly until it drops. They go back to their positions before it even lands on the ground below. You step back from the entrance and return to the comb. You're not ready to go out yet, but you will be soon. You're 2 weeks old now, and today you go out for the first time. You walk to the entrance, step off the edge, and drop slightly before your wings catch and pull you up. You circle the hive in wide loops, going further out with each pass and turning back each time to fix the position of the entrance in your body. Other young bees do the same around you, all of them circling and returning until the location is locked in. Then a bee drifts in from the side with its markings slightly wrong. The guards at the entrance move toward it before it even lands, surrounding it and pressing in tight with their bodies vibrating together. The heat builds inside the ball until the foreign bee stops moving. You watch it happen from a few body lengths away, and then your body moves toward the cluster before you decide to. You press in with the others, adding to the heat. That reaction, instant and without hesitation, is what makes your colony different from most. Your colony is Africanized, bred from African bees brought to Brazil decades ago that escaped and spread across the continent, and your response to any threat is faster and larger than almost any other bee alive. When it's over, you pull back and return to your loops, fixing more landmarks into your memory with each pass. A tall tree to the left, a split rock below, the angle of the hive entrance against the bark. By the time you land back at the entrance, your body knows exactly how to find this place from any direction. But finding food is a different skill entirely, and you haven't learned it yet. You're 3 weeks old now, and your role has changed. You're a guard, standing at the entrance with others and checking every bee that tries to land. Most pass quickly, carrying the right markings and the right signals. But one afternoon, a coati pushes its nose toward the entrance from below, gripping the bark with its claws and pulling itself up toward the opening. The guards hit it before it reaches the entrance and release a signal that spreads through the hive instantly. You're just inside when it reaches you, and your body turns toward the entrance on its own, so you move with it, pushing out into the air with hundreds of others already ahead of you. The coati shakes and scratches at the bees covering its face, trying to knock them away, but more keep coming. You find a patch of thin skin behind its ear and drive your stinger in, and then it catches and pulls free from your body as the coati jerks its head. You drop. You land on the ground below the hive with your stinger gone and your body already slowing. Above you, the swarm is still thick around the coati as it backs away through the undergrowth with bees covering its shoulders and the back of its head. Then it moves far enough away that the bees start returning to the entrance, peeling away from it one group at a time. The coati disappears. The hive goes back to working. You're on the ground with the others who didn't make it back, and your body has no more left to give. But a bee like you doesn't have to survive alone for the colony to keep going. Skip forward a bit, and the hive is 5 weeks old now, filled past the point the space can hold. A new queen has been raised in a set of large cells along the lower edge of the comb, and the old queen begins moving toward the entrance with a growing mass of workers pressing behind her. You're one of them, caught in the current of thousands of bodies all moving in the same direction, and before you process what's happening, you're outside and in the air as part of a swarm. The swarm clusters on a branch a short distance from the old hive, pressing together into a single mass while scouts fly out in every direction to search for a new cavity. You wait inside the cluster with the others, holding position while the scouts return and perform their dances on the surface of the mass, each one advertising a different location. One site draws more dancers than all the others, a hollow in a dead tree 200 meters away, and the cluster lifts from the branch and moves. When the scouts reach the hollow first, they find it already occupied by a small colony of stingless bees with comb built across the inside walls. The workers flood in before the swarm even arrives, overwhelming the stingless bees and tearing their comb away from the walls. By the time the swarm enters the hollow, the space is cleared and ready. The queen moves inside and begins laying within the hour, and you start drawing comb on the walls alongside the others. The new hive has no stores, no population to speak of, and no defenses yet. Everything it needs has to be built from nothing. The hive is 6 weeks old now, and you come out as a forager for the first time. A returning scout lands on the comb and dances her route in front of you, turning at a specific angle and repeating the pattern until you have the direction and distance fixed in your body. You follow it out into the air and find the flowers exactly where the dance said they would be, landing on the first one and working across the surface with your legs pulling pollen into the small pouches on your back legs. On your fourth run of the day, you're flying back toward the hive with both pouches full when a crab spider sitting still on a flower grabs the bee flying just ahead of you and holds it. You pull away fast and circle once before continuing back toward the hive, cutting that flower from your root permanently. 2 days later, a robber fly hits you from the side in open air, wrapping its legs around your body and dragging you down toward the undergrowth below. You need to break free, so you twist in its grip and drive your stinger into the soft underside of its body repeatedly until its legs loosen. It drops away and you pull up, landing on a leaf to check your wings. You open and close them a few times until they sit straight, then lift off and continue back toward the hive. You unload your pollen and turn straight back toward the flowers, because the colony needs more than one run can bring in. The hive is growing faster than the area around it can easily supply, and that pressure is starting to show. The hive is 2 months old now, and robber bees from a larger colony nearby have been probing the entrance since early in the day, landing and pulling back when the guards move toward them, then returning with more. By the third wave, they stop pulling back. Fighting breaks out at the entrance with bees locking onto each other and stinging across the landing board, and you move to the entrance to hold the line with the guards already there. A robber bee gets through the gap while you're pushing another one back, so you follow it inside and chase it across the comb until you catch it near the brood cells and sting it until it stops moving. Then you go back to the entrance. The fighting goes on for most of the afternoon, with both colonies taking losses on the landing board, and by the time the robbers pull back for good, the entrance is scattered with bodies from both sides. Your hive lost a section of honey stores and a large number of workers. The queen responds by increasing her laying rate in the days that follow, filling cells faster than usual, and the population starts climbing back toward where it was. The entrance guards are doubled and positioned further out from the opening, so any approaching bee gets checked before it gets close. Within 2 weeks, the hive looks almost the same as it did before the raid. But the hive has never faced anything that hits harder than it stings back, and something like that is already moving through the undergrowth toward the dead tree. The hive is 3 months old when a honey badger finds the dead tree and starts clawing at the bark around the entrance, pulling pieces away to widen the gap. The guards hit it immediately and the alarm signal reaches you inside within seconds. So you move toward the entrance with thousands of others pushing out behind you and covering the badger's back and head in a layer of stinging bees. It keeps clawing. Its thick skin and dense fur absorb most of what you're doing, and it pushes its head into the widened opening and starts pulling comb out with its teeth, swallowing it in large pieces. You find the thin skin at the corner of its mouth and sting there, then move to the skin around its eye and sting again. Hundreds of bees are knocked loose as it shakes its head, but hundreds more take their place. Then a dense cluster lands around both its eyes at the same time, and it pulls its head back out of the opening, shaking hard and scratching at its face with both front paws. It sits outside the tree for a moment with bees still covering its back, then turns and moves away through the undergrowth. The hive is badly damaged. A large section of comb is gone, larvae are exposed along the open edges, and the ground around the base of the tree is covered with dead bees. Workers move to cover the exposed brood immediately, and others start rebuilding the lost comb, pulling wax from their own bodies and pressing it into place. The hive has survived every threat that has found it so far, but the next one is already inside, and it arrived before anyone noticed. The hive is 4 months old when the first varroa mites come in on the bodies of returning foragers, dropping onto the comb as the bees unload and moving straight into capped brood cells before any worker gets close enough to catch them. They reproduce inside the sealed cells, feeding on the developing bees, and the bees that come out of those cells pull themselves free from the wax with their wings bent and their legs not working the way they should. They crawl to the edge of the comb and drop off the bottom. More cells produce the same result each day, and the number of healthy foragers starts falling. With fewer foragers going out, less food comes in, so fewer larvae develop fully, so fewer replacements come out of the cells, so even fewer foragers are left to fly. The cycle pulls the colony down faster than the queen can push it back up, even with her laying rate staying high. You're one of the last foragers still flying regular runs when you come back one afternoon and land at the entrance with both pouches full. The entrance is unguarded. You walk inside and move across the comb, but the workers you pass are slow and most of the cells around you are empty. The queen is still laying in a small cluster of cells near the center, with a few bees pressing close around her. You unload your pollen into an open cell nearby, then move to the edge of the comb with nothing left to do. Your legs fold and your body presses flat against the wax. Outside, the dead tree stands exactly as it did the day the swarm moved in. The colony that filled it has almost nothing left. One by one, the last bees drop from the bottom of the comb, and then the hive goes still.